You're listening to the Incomparables Total Party Kill podcast, in which a group of friends play Dungeons & Dragons on the internet for your amusement. This is episode number 406, recorded August 2021, posted July 2023. Rat Management.
Welcome back to Total Party Kill. It's me, Tony Sindelar, a Dungeon Master. Today, we are continuing Madsroth's Mighty Digressions. That's right, Candlekeep, a level 2 adventure, book-related shenanigans. Everything's great. Books are bad. Sometimes they're good. They're always trouble. With me today is a group of adventurers, and I am going to introduce them in initiative order because we are jumping right into combat. Our adventurers are on their way to the city of Baldur's Gate when they have been waylaid by some giant rats and a guy who hangs out with giant rats, and I will introduce them in initiative order. At the top of the order, after the giant rats, it is one James Thompson. Hi, James.
Hi, James Thompson, he, him. I am playing Nyasa Nightweaver, she, her, who is a high elf rogue, currently wearing sunglasses and hiding behind a tree.
Next up in the order, it's Aline Sims. Aline.
Hello, I play Lapis, the Tabaxi cleric, who is currently hoping to kill some rats.
Mm-hmm. Aline is followed by Monty Ashley.
I am Monty Ashley. I am playing Townley Mountain Taker, he, him, a warlock with magic eyes.
You skip me.
And right before Monty, because I'm bad at reading, it's Erica Ensign.
Hello.
I was trying to do the thing in my head where I was switching between character names and player names, and
That's
I
hard.
didn't do it right.
That's hard.
Yep.
I am playing Frittata, a haunted Goliath, a barbarian. Our pronouns are she, her.
Let's see. Monty is followed by Little Antony. We'll hear from Little Antony in a second. Little Antony is followed by Mushika, a strange man who owns and operates 3 rats. It's a little unclear what the financial arrangement is here. And at the very bottom of the order, it is Tiff Arment. Tiff, hello.
Hi, I am playing Paulie Quartz of the Rock Gnome Quartzes, and with me is Little Antony, who is my familiar quasit who loves meatball subs.
Mm-hmm. The familiar we're all familiar with. All right. So I guess we are doing this. You are on your way to Baldur's Gate. You have negotiated and failed to negotiate with a tax collector who wanted an arranged tax collector. I guess has a layer of authenticity that is inappropriate here. Toll
Also,
collector.
you only fail if you try. We did not try to negotiate anything.
Well, his toll that he attempted to collect was ridiculous and criminal, and his authority to collect it was questionable at best.
He failed.
Polly has made some gestures as if magic is about to happen, and a fight has broken out. 3 giant rats are going to go first. These are rather large rats, and they are just going to... It looks like, Frittata, you are at the front of the group. 3 giant rats are just going to converge on you.
It's been nice knowing
I think they are hoping if they take out one adventurer that they might have that perhaps the rest of you will surrender and pay their ludicrous toll. So there are 3 giant rat attacks coming at you, Frittata. I'll tell you, giant rats have pack tactics. They have advantage on attack rolls when they have rats next to them, which they do. So, rat attack number 1.
Is this going to be a thing for this group that, like, every fight, somebody goes down on the first attack?
I don't know. You get to decide together as a team.
Well, then I decide no.
Well, let's see how that works out in reality. First attack is a 10. I suspect that doesn't hit you.
Phew, that misses.
Second attack is a slightly more impressive 15.
That does hit.
4 piercing damage as a rat gnaws at your shin.
They're not as big as I thought.
Well, they're still rats. And if a 15 hit you,
said giant.
Well, they're rats, though. Rats are small. They're not rodents of unusual size, which are very big.
Oh, okay.
These are usual giant rat size.
Like dog size?
Oh, that completely changes my perspective. I was like, a capybara? No,
I think so. I will. They are labeled as a small beast. So I think this is where I am creating the world. I think that a giant rat, smaller than a golden retriever. I'll be honest. I've never seen a capybara in real life, Aline. I think they're smaller than that. I mean, they're much too
capybaras
big.
are medium dog size. They're big.
Okay. I mean, I think a giant rat is upsettingly large for a rat. Like, you know, I mean,
Okay.
I've occasionally seen a rat in real life and be like, I'd rather not be seeing this rat right now. What if that rat was small dog size? I would be very upset.
I mean,
So-
I did see a rat once. I thought it was a large cat, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
So-
So they are the biggest rats
disturbing.
ever, but they're still rat class,
Okay,
not
okay.
not
If we had
horse
like
class.
a tiny saddle for them, could Paulie ride one?
I think that they are not large enough. Polly, I don't totally know how exactly the size of a gnome compared to a giant rat. I think they're not the size that Polly could ride.
Then we
That
have
is
no
a little
need
rude
for
for
them.
you to assume that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, they're not like, I don't think they are proportion. Like, Polly to giant rat is not, say, the proportion of Nyasa to a horse, right? Like, I
Okay.
think Polly, you could ride a pony, right?
I mean, if I have a step stool, yeah.
Yeah, these are smaller than a pony. I would say significantly smaller than a pony. I think a pony is a medium-sized beast, and these are small.
So smaller than a capybara, smaller than a pony, larger than a rat.
We're definitely larger than a rat.
Okay.
Do we need more rat talk here to converge on?
I
Are
mean,
they
everyone having the right-
technically exactly the size of a rat, though?
No, they're giant rats by
But they're
definition.
giant rats.
They're the
but-
size
They're
of a
the
giant
size of a-
rat.
They are the
Okay,
size of a
all right.
giant rat.
Unusually large.
All right,
rat.
there's still
okay.
one
No.
more that has to attack me. Please.
Okay.
We're giving you an opportunity to run away.
It rolled a 16, so it hits you, Frittata, for another 4 piercing damage. Basically, the 3 rats rush you. One of the rats distracts you. It's almost like this is a coordinated attack that they've been planning, and the other 2 rats clamp onto each of your ankles. It is unpleasant to be attacked by 2 giant rats at the same time, I assume. This is not part of my lived experience. Nyasa. There are 3 rats attacking your friend. There is also a strange man at the back of the group ordering the rats. Yes, attack them! Attack!
Before combat
Bite them until they give me my money.
Before combat broke out, I hid. So I am
yes,
going
it's
to
true.
pop out of hiding and throw, you may be surprised to learn, a dagger at Mushika at the back. And
Is that long range for your dagger?
that's a good question.
I assume these are 5 feet squares.
Erica is an accomplished dagger thrower in another adventure.
I don't know what the range on a dagger is.
I mean, I didn't say exactly where I...
Yeah, I thought it was 20.
Yeah, it's 20 on a dagger. Well, okay, since I'm... How far away am I? I mean, I stupidly just picked a spot. I didn't actually check. So I'm 45 feet away. All right, well, let us... some surprising firebolt, then.
Okay.
Or actually, no.
That is surprising.
Should be. Okay.
Especially if it's coming from like a hidden person. Like that'd be a very big surprise.
I roll.
And in fact, when you probably have looked at the rules on various stealth things more than I have, James. I think possibly you might have advantage when you're making an attack from.
Yeah, I
this?
get.
Where you get sneak attack.
I get
on
sneak
your dagger
attack, so I do an extra d6 of damage.
do you do it? Do you get a d6 of damage on firebolt, or does it have to be a daggery thing?
No, it. Well, it says attack must use a finesse or ranged weapon, so I guess that's
Yes.
not a spell. So
That's not a spell.
thankfully, I did unpack the short bow from a book earlier, so we'll go with that. Right. So that is a 20.
Ooh, almost. No, definitely it's level 2. So, yeah. And I'm sorry, you were still targeting
Rude.
Mushika
Yeah,
with your short bow?
because
All right.
take out the rat king.
All right. You fire your bow. Arrow whistles across the crossroads and hits Mushika in the shoulder for...
I'm going to get 2d6 plus 3 because I have an extra d6. I have 4 and 3, 7, 10.
Mushika snarls. Ah, where'd that come from?
And
Oh, there's 5 of you? That's going to be like 45 gold then.
and then I'll pop back into hiding.
Okay.
Do I have to roll to pop back into hiding?
Yeah, you need to make a quick stealth check.
Okay. Well, that was a 26. So
All right. I am not going to bother rolling when you roll higher than 20. Lapis, you are toward the back of the group. Frittata is, it looks like, about 10 feet in front of you. Not covered because she's a giant Goliath, but encumbered by rats around her ankles.
Ankle biters.
Yeah.
I think that it's taking years. It's taken years of training, but instead of pouncing on the rats, as is Lapis's instinct, instead I'm going to pull out my crossbow because it does more damage and aim at the rat, the southernmost rat, for 11 to hit.
An 11 will not quite hit a rat.
Okay.
It hits the ground next to the rat. The rat chitters. I don't know if that's what rats sound like. I don't think it is, but that's what giant rats sound like.
Canon. All right.
My rats, people, you can't take this from me.
I'm gonna glare and hope I do better next time.
All right.
I can take it from you if you come to Alberta.
Rat free since 93.
I think it's like 1930 something or 20 something.
1933. Frittata, it's your turn. I forgot that we were going to have to talk about how Edmonton is rat free. Somehow,
not just Edmonton, all of Alberta.
All right, it's one. Yes, I know it's on my 7 facts I know about Erica list.
Yep. If we see a rat, we call 310 rats. That is what we do.
Is one of the facts just Doctor Who?
Yep.
Doctor Who, rat free.
Yeah.
Yep.
One on a herb. Yeah, it's, you know.
Yep.
There's really only about 4 things that make up most of us.
It's not a very long list.
No.
All right.
But
so
each of those
Frittata-
items is like ends with an exclamation point.
At least one. At least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bonus action to start raging because
Okay, because you're mad that there are rats.
I'm actually really mad that somebody is trying to take ownership of past. Like this is not the kind of thing that I'm into as a Goliath and a barbarian. Like somebody owning a road, that's just not right.
Absolutely nobody suggested we would take it over afterwards. No, that didn't happen.
And then also I have been like, I'm at less than half my hit points because these rats have been biting. So I am raging, and I will pull out my maul and say 3 giant rats. See how they die. And I roll. Let's see. Oh, that's actually not too bad. So that's a 21 to hit.
21. There are 3 rats in front of you, Frittata. Which rat were you attacking?
I am going to go for the northmost rat, I guess.
All right. So you hit it with your maul.
Yep. For 11 points of bludgeoning damage.
You
Splat
crush that rat. The other rats look suddenly wide-eyed as there's only 2 rats in this crossroads. There is just a bad kind of rat paste where 1 rat was.
This is a very messy adventure.
And
It's
growl.
unpleasant. Someone is going to need to clean up this crossroads or let nature take.
I mean, this is where meatball sauce come from, but don't tell anyone.
All set, Frittata?
Yep, that's it.
Townley is next, followed by Little Anthony.
Townley, with a dreamy look on his face, will raise his hand and cast Eldritch Blast at the rat that is now the northmost one.
Okay.
I rolled a number 12.
12 is the armor class of a rat.
3 points of damage.
All right. That rat looks seriously wounded.
Oh, well, that's good news. And I will move. Actually, I will move. What do you think of that? I
Ooh.
will wander into the trees over here.
Okay. You're wandering to the trees closer to the fight.
Yeah.
All right. Little Anthony.
All right. Little Anthony's going to show some stuff here. He's going to scamper up Frittata. Hope you don't mind. And
At this point, I don't feel it. There's too much blood.
he's going to try to claw at and bite the beast, which is the rat.
Now, I would
And-
say that little Antony and a giant rat, I don't know who is bigger. I imagine them as similar in proportions, right?
Nice.
Like, I think little Antony is probably taller because he's bipedal.
Mhm.
And so, like the giant rat is maybe wider, but I feel like they're on a similar, scale in terms of maybe the rat's got some more bulk to him. But
but little
yeah.
Antony's pretty fierce when he's
Little Antony looks like the kind of guy who would love to, maybe not love, but maybe he spent some times in the doing service in some kind of fighting dog pit where you fight giant rats for the amusement of jerk demons that he works for.
I hear here is that little Anthony could ride on a rat.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah,
So little Antony rolled 21 to hit.
that'll hit a giant rat.
Nice.
And so I have a question here. It says hit 5 and then in parentheses 1d4 plus 3. So is that
Roll 1d4. That's for when a dungeon master, it gives you a flat damage to make it move faster. Why don't you
Okay.
roll 1d4 plus 3?
so? And that's 4. And now, so that's 4 points of damage.
Yeah.
And now the rat has to do a Constitution saving throw to not be poisoned.
Well, I will tell you, it cannot be poisoned because it's dead. Would you like to describe how little Antony murdered a rat?
Yeah, he has these like massive claws and these horrible fangs, and he was so pissed that this rat was messing with his new friend Frittata, and little Antony's already covered in kind of tomato sauce, so he looks all bloody and scary, and he starts just like going nuts with his claws, and he goes just tears into this rat, and you can't tell what's blood and what's tomato sauce anymore. And then after he's done, he just kind of like wipes his mouth. And he goes to high five Frittata, but she looks leery of his like blood soaked claws.
No. I'm a raging barbarian. I am into this.
Oh, okay.
There is again a major height differential.
Okay,
between-
yeah, then they
I reach
totally
out-
fist bump.
I mean, I
reached
think-
on
my
top of
pinky.
her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I don't know. I'm not sure if I can imagine because little Antony's probably about up to Frittata's knee, so I don't know how they high five.
Maybe.
But they could definitely fist bump. So
It's a low 5 for me. It's a high 5.
high
but
five
but
for-
little
okay.
Antony climbed. Little Antony, he
but
scurried up.
how do you
so-
high five something that's on your shoulder? We'll have to do some
go like
research
this.
on this. Yeah.
Boom.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Little Antony, all set?
Little
right.
Antony's done.
Mushika, the man that controls 3 rats, looks
One
unhappy. Well, he started out his day controlling 3 rats, looks very unhappy about this, and he in fact whisper yells to the other rat, Cedric, retreat! And little Antony is going to no, sorry, not little Antony, that's you all. Mushika is going to fire a crossbow at little Antony and then try and run away.
No.
Oh no!
I know. Little Antony.
After we
danger.
just bonded, I'm chasing this guy down if something
Yeah.
happens to Lil
Yeah.
Antony.
Wait, can little Antony turn invisible?
Can you turn invisible as a reaction? Otherwise, no, probably not.
I don't know.
It's probably
Doesn't
an
say.
action.
It's just his actions, yeah.
Yeah, that is an action. So you would have had to have done that on your turn instead of murdering a rat.
Darn
so
it. I
don't
should have
worry.
not fist bumped you. I should have went invisible.
Well, I rolled a 6, so the bolt whistles nowhere near little Antony, and Mushika kind of drops to all fours and scampers into the woods in a very kind of strange way. He moves 30 feet, so he is in the woods. He may or may not be visible to any of you at this point, as he is, yeah. Let's see here. That was Mushika. Polly, it is your turn. Lil Antony is there, covered in rat guts. There is one giant rat left.
Okay, so
And a guy that's getting away.
yeah, he is getting away. Okay, let's see. What's the state of the other rat? Didn't he yell retreat? Is it like
he did yell
freaking out or
retreat?
anything?
It hasn't done anything yet, and this rat is so far unscathed.
Okay. We probably can't talk to the rat very easily.
Scathe it. Scathe it.
Yeah.
Should I get it? Go
Yeah.
after this rat? All right. I have a dart, and my range of my dart is pretty far. It's
Okay.
definitely within this 20 feet. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So I am going to try
Dart a
and
rat.
hit this.
The hit party game.
I'm gonna dart a rat, and that is a 4, 5, 6.
You
missed
dart the
rat.
ground near the rat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the traditional dart a rat game is played blindfolded, and so it's hard to dart a rat.
it's true.
Mhm.
I look very disappointed.
It's a
All right.
carnival game.
Yeah.
It's like the game with the wall full of balloons, but they're
Mhm.
rats.
Yeah. Mushika did have a very a heavy carny aspect around him. Well, Cedric the rat, you've only recently learned his name, is going to retreat, especially at this point. He no longer has advantage to his attacks. He is just going to scamper off in the general direction of Frittata. That will provoke a opportunity attack from Frittata.
Hurrah. All right, I try to splat another rat. Oh, I rolled 5s on both of my d20s, so that's only a 10.
All right, he dashes between your legs and dodges your maul and runs 30 feet and then takes another move action to run another 30 feet in the woods. I suspect that rat is no longer within view of all of you.
I'm pretty perceptive.
Nyasa.
Yeah, can I see Mushika?
I think that Mushika is going to be, you can see movement in the woods as Mushika is running away. So I would say you would have disadvantage on any ranged attacks against Mushika.
Well, let's try it.
Yeah.
I will I'll fire an arrow into the rustly wood area
Yep.
and see what we get. I have +5 on that. So that is a natural 20 +5.
With disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I've set at
Okay.
the upper limit. Let's
Yeah.
see where we go.
The upper limit that does not apply when you roll with disadvantage. Yes.
Just it might.
Maybe you'll roll another natural 20. Then it'll count.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it
Do
would.
that.
I'll try. No, but I rolled an 18.
All right, your arrow flies true, and you hear this yelp of someone getting hit by an arrow. Roll me damage.
So that's going to be 2d6 +3. So that is 4, 6, 10, 13.
All right. Mushika has not been bloodied yet. He has been hit with 2 arrows, and it's loping through the woods away from you all.
And I am not going to hide. I'm going to head in that direction.
Okay.
So I can
Get him.
30. Can I do a full move? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to head to 30 feet.
All right, you run down the road in the direction Mushika went. Let me just... I don't usually care too much about distances, but it starts to be important if people are running away. So Mushika is still 45 feet away from you through the woods, Nyasa, and that's, 65 feet from Frittata, and even more, slightly more from the rest of the group toward the back. Lapis, I think you are next.
I am. I guess I could dash to catch up, but
Oh, I could have done a dash as a bonus action.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because you're a rogue, right?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Maybe I did that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it sounds
why
like
not?
you did.
I think that sounds unanimous. So that's me another 30. So that's there. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad we all agree on that. So
I mean, the next person hasn't gone yet, so
Yeah.
It's like you haven't taken your finger off the chess piece yet.
there we go.
Yeah, okay. Yep, I will dash my way toward them. I mean, if nothing else, just to make sure that they're gone and not going to ambush us, and 5 minutes down the
I
road.
would also like the backup because I might get eaten by a rat.
Okay, yeah. That sounds unpleasant.
And this guy might have gold.
Yeah, if he's been taking gold off people for a long time, you know.
That's true. He doesn't seem very good at it, but
All right.
yeah. Okay, so I'm
Nyasa
running.
and Lapis have dashed down the road and kind of off the path into the woods, and you're closing fast with Mushika and Cedric, who are getting close to the edge of the map that I provided. So, Lapis, do you have an attack action left that you can do?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can just run a lot.
Frittata, how are you?
I'm still raging, and I'm really, really mad. So I, of course, am going to just chase after because I'm really mad. Unfortunately, that means I have to also dash because I can't. I don't have any bonus actions. So at the end of my turn, I run up and I'm screaming and I'm, gesturing with my maul, but I can't actually take an attack action. I'm just next to both of them.
Okay, but you have engaged them, which means when they run away from you, they provoke.
Yeah, unless they disengage.
Yeah.
So I'm right there, and unfortunately, because I have not taken damage or attacked anything,
You stop raging.
this turn, my rage ends. Yeah.
Oh, if only it was that easy.
Yeah. If only.
Townley, you are standing in an increasingly empty crossroads with Paul, a little Antony, and 2 rat corpses.
Well, first I will take my move and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares closer.
Wouldn't little Antony still be on me because he climbed me?
Little Antony climbed down and he's still eating the rats.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Am I close enough to shoot this guy without disadvantage?
I think because of the cover of the woods, no. I think
Okay.
I imagine he's through the tree line.
I will cast Expeditious Retreat
Oh, and then you
Wait,
expeditiously not retreat
as a
but-
bonus action, mind you.
Mhm.
And when I cast it, I get to take the dash action, which means I can move another 6 squares closer. 1, 2,
Usually used for retreating when you're a magic user.
4,
Townley is
5,
using this to hunt
6.
someone in the woods and murder them.
Oh, I'm much closer now.
Yeah, I would say you did not have disadvantage there from
Can
either Cedric or Mushika.
Can I cast Eldritch Blast?
Yeah, why not?
Because I just cast a spell.
Oh, then yes,
Is one
you
of them a
can.
cantrip?
Is one of them a cantrip? Is
Yes, it
Blast
is.
a cantrip?
Eldritch Blast is a cantrip.
Then yes, you can.
Then I will cast Eldritch Blast at the rat.
At Cedric the rat.
Yes. Cedric the dead rat.
Well, future dead rat.
23 to hit.
Yes. Poor Cedric.
6 points of damage.
Okay, Cedric is seriously wounded by your... what type of damage does Eldritch Blast do?
Force.
Force damage. Oh, Cedric is pummeled against a tree. If this was 4th edition, Cedric would be very, very bloodied.
And I will say, where are you going? Where are you going? Just want to talk to you. All right.
Are you talking to Cedric or to Mushika?
Nobody.
Okay, thanks. Little Antony, you are full belly of rat guts.
Little Antony has a range of 40 feet. So
Oh, he
let's see.
scampers.
He does. Oh no. Let's see. How far is that? Get the little measury thingy. Oh yeah, he could join the crew pretty fast. All right. So he's gonna join the crew for his move, and being in sight range of a creature, he can. Oh, I guess is the move.
The move is you get a move and an action. So
Okay, so he moved. What he's going to do is he's going to scare. So one creature of the Quasit's choice within 20 feet must succeed on a DC 10 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened for 1 minute.
Mushika is rolling a wisdom saving throw. Mushika has rolled a 2.
Yay!
Oh, fail! Mushika's scared.
Mushika is very scared. And in fact, it is Mushika's turn. Mushika kind of like, was already kind of scrambling on all fours and kind of like drops into like a kneeling position and like puts his hands up in front of him. He's like, "What? I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. I surrender."
Does the fear cause him to try to run away, or I'm just wondering?
I think
if
he can't move
additional...
toward you. And I'm somewhat
okay.
So
okay.
I am playing that the fear has basically forced him to surrender, even though he hasn't taken that much damage, but he's gonna keep taking damage if you are now all converged on him.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, now I'll just point out Mushika's kind of physical characteristics and just way that he moved through the woods was very strange. This appeared to be kind of a human, but acted in a variety of non-human ways. Especially his kind of loping through the woods on all fours. I don't want any trouble. Here, you want gold? I got gold. He starts rummaging through his pockets.
Yeah, if we kill you, we get the gold anyway.
So are we out of rounds then?
I think so. Unless, I don't know. Do you want to be out of combat? That's a choice you get to make,
if I was
guess.
still raging, I would probably just still attack, but I'm not raging, so I could be talked out of it maybe.
Well, I'll say that was Mushika's turn. Polly, it's your turn. You can move up and join the group if you want.
Yeah, Polly's just gonna walk up to the group.
Just saunters.
Yeah. It's gonna take 2 turns to get there.
Such short little legs.
I mean, he does what he can do.
Yep.
There he is. All right. So are we still in combat then?
I guess it depends
you
what
wanna be?
Cedric does.
I mean,
All right, so
I got really hurt, so I'm really mad at these rats.
So I have like I have my stones, my magic stones, and I'm tossing one up and down and catching it, like a little intimidation there. Yeah. And I want to ask Mishaka some questions.
Whatever you need to know. What do you need to know? I'm so sorry.
First of all, let's see some of that gold, because now we're gonna have to buy some healing potions for Frittata over here. So why don't you pay her?
Mushika empties one of his pockets. He's got a bunch of like pebbles and some twigs and I guess a relatively nice looking leaf and 9 pieces of gold that are now on the dirt in front of him.
All right. I think there you go.
I will pick that's enough to make me not smash his head in immediately. So I will pick that up.
That's good. I'm glad that we can cooperate. This is very nice. This is very, very nice.
What's in the other pocket?
What's in the other pocket?
When Mushika empties the other pocket, he's got 7 more pieces of gold. And then he whistles at Cedric, the rat. He goes, Cedric, the rat kind of coughs and coughs up 2 pieces of gold.
Wow.
We should have checked the other rats.
I know.
We still can.
What will little Anthony find over there?
Yeah, Slash, you may need to check little Anthony at this point.
Little Anthony actually coughs and pieces of gold fall out of little Anthony.
Wow, those 2 pieces of gold have been through 2 different digestive tracts now.
They've seen some stuff. Now they're also haunted, just like me.
Still legal tender though.
Yeah, haunted money spends as good as not haunted money.
I also want to ask him. We need to know something. We're looking for an A bookstore. Do you know anything about books?
I don't know anything about books.
All right, good talk.
Please don't kill me.
Why?
Yeah, give us a good reason why.
I just gave you like 18 good reasons why.
We don't want to see you around here anymore.
You'll never see me again. I promise. I don't want any trouble.
If you didn't want trouble, you shouldn't have messed with us.
Can we roll?
It was a mistake.
What's it?
Insight.
Insight to see if he's
good call.
Telling the truth here.
Polly, roll some insight.
13.
Polly, Mushika does not seem on the up and up as far as a person goes. You get the sense that maybe he's just telling you what he thinks you want to hear.
I think he's telling us what we want to hear.
Yeah, what you want to hear. I'm absolutely doing that. Let me go.
I mean, I don't feel right killing this dude in cold blood. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
I killed all
my
his
blood
rats.
is ice cold.
Are there proper authorities we could bring him to in Baldur's Gate?
Oh, I like that. That's a good idea.
How many
Let's
days?
tie him up.
How many days out are we from Baldur's Gate?
I would say
one
you're
day.
only a single day's travel. It's a little complicated in terms of, you're kind of in, the open territory here. There's not really any jurisdiction. You could bring him to Baldur's Gate and hand him over to the town guard. They might not know what to do with him, but I guess that's not your problem at that point.
I don't want to take a prisoner, you guys.
What about if we bind his hands and feet and leave him next to his rat?
That sounds fair. The rat will gnaw him loose pretty
Yeah,
soon.
eventually.
No, I was thinking the rat would gnaw him, not loose.
No, I think the
They're
rat
friends,
does what
though.
he says.
Yeah.
I will say this though: I'm taking this leaf.
Tough but
I
fair.
nod.
I understand.
What?
Please add that to your character sheet, Monty. So-
Here's what I want to hear from you. I want to hear that you're never going to try a stunt like this again.
I'm never going to try a stunt like this again.
He's telling
And I
us what
want
we
it
want
to
to
be
hear.
honest.
I kind of want to tie him up and leave a sign around his neck that says thief and leave him kind of in the intersection over here.
I'm never going to do this again, honest.
I'm going to roll an intimidate check because I
All
want to, I'm going to stand behind Lapis and just sort of, intensely stare. And I'm really not very intimidating for an 8-foot Goliath because I keep rolling really terribly today. That is an 8. Like, I'm proficient in intimidation, but I'm not good at anything today except for squashing rats.
You
What was
glower
the-
at him.
What was the other rat's name?
Cedric.
Cedric.
We don't know the names of the 2 dead rats at this point.
Oh, we did one. Was it like Spencer or something?
I don't recall naming them, but if you maybe
No, I think it was just Cedric.
Well, we should tie up Cedric and tie up.
you ever try up a rat? It's not easy.
I'm pretty good with these things. So
Go
Can
for
we
it.
put it in a box?
Give it a try.
How many boxes you got on you, Polly?
How many do you need?
Fair enough.
I mean,
Well, I
Earth
don't
and
want to spend
Cage.
too much of our epic
Yeah.
adventure dealing with rat management, but you tell me what you want to do.
I just
We can tie up Moshika, and then we can have Narissa try to tie up the rat, and I will just bend down and get right up in Moshika's face and just say, "All right, we are going to leave you here. If you've lived a good life and gotten some friends that might come and help you, you should be fine. If you've been living a crappy life and been doing awful things and you don't have any friends, you might be in trouble. So maybe you can use this time to ponder your life choices." And then I stand up and walk away.
Friends sound great.
and I
He
lean
says
in.
this.
I lean in and say, "If anybody paid me a gold piece, I would kill you. But I won't do it for free."
Mushika stares at you with wide eyes.
And we're putting your rat in a box.
Put the rat in a box. Because I don't want the rat untying or setting
Alright.
him free.
I will
All
lean
right.
into him and say,
I just imagine each of you taking
Yeah.
turns leaning in. There's a lot of leaning in. And the key is you got to lean out, otherwise the next
Yeah.
person's going to lean way in to lean further in. So it's like, but you've been,
Oh, I laughed.
you've had 4 days on the road. You've been practicing. I get it.
and I say, just count the number of people, dude. Like there were 5 of us. Just pick your targets. That's what I'm saying.
Now you're giving him business advice.
Yes, I am.
Which he may or may not be able to use in the future.
He looks sheepish.
All right, so do we officially tie him up, put his rat in
Yeah.
a box, and we make our way down the road, huh?
Yeah.
He
Yep.
looked
Do
radish
that.
before.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
All right,
This is an
so you have dealt with Mushika and his trio of giant rats. The rest of your travel to Baldur's Gate is without incident.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me load up the map for Baldur's Gate. Should be loading.
Ooh.
whoa.
So this is a big city map, not a tactical map, so don't worry too much about your tokens here. But after another day of travel, you arrive at Baldur's Gate. So Baldur's Gate, as described before, kind of a sketchy city, but it is a huge, major, sprawling metropolis. It is built on a tributary that goes to the ocean, so it is a port city. It is a walled city, too. There are settlements outside the walls, but the Baldur's Gate proper is walled in. And indeed, Baldur's Gate is named for, or there is, the gates have names. It so happens that the gate that you enter Baldur's Gate through is the titular Baldur's Gate itself. There are other gates on the other parts of the city as well. There is a line to get into Baldur's Gate, and it does seem to be kind of a regulated thing. You're required to pay a 1 silver piece entrance fee, which is easily taken care of given the amount of money you collected from Mashika, and to state your name and business. Up to you whether you give legitimate or false names as you head in.
I am absolutely giving a false name.
Okay. Everyone
I give
else.
my real name, but the business
fine.
is
Do
shopping.
we know James's character's real name?
I don't think any of you know his. I think you all. James, is it safe to say that you're operating under a consistent false name?
I think it varies wildly. I don't know. I'll go in as a Joan Wick or something.
Right.
Okay.
I would think it would be funny if I gave your real name as my fake name.
But then you'll be carted away.
See, I was right. It was funny.
Okay, let's try that.
All right. It's possible that you may have asked for directions, and upon entering, and you are told that the major marketplace in Baldur's Gate is part of the upper city. So there are kind of different areas of of Baldur's Gate, the upper city and the lower city being two such ones. You've entered the Baldur's Gate on the side closest to the Y, closest to the upper city, and you are warned that basically the upper city is clearly the kind of higher class part of Baldur's Gate, and that visitors, which is to say you, non-residents, are not permitted in the upper city after nightfall. Baldur's Gate does have a lot of walls and sectors within it that are policed and patrolled by the Watch. As well as various mercenary groups. There seems to be a major mercenary presence in Baldur's Gate from a group that has a kind of a fiery gauntlet for their symbol on their armor. But Baldur's Gate, especially to those of you who don't spend a lot of time in a city, is an impressive, sprawling metropolis. It is dirty and filthy, and but the upper city is a little less dirty and filthy than other parts of it. The area that you had to pass through to get to this area is the parts outside of the walls, which are the really, unfortunately, kind of slummy parts of Baldur's Gate. People living in kind of ramshackle makeshift dwellings. People who cannot afford to be going to and from the gates every day. So this area outside the city, which is an area called Blackgate, is particularly run down. As soon as you pass through the walls, you're in the upper city, which is fancy, with lots of fancy shops and townhouses for the wealthiest citizens of Baldur's Gate. Luxurious boutiques, expensive restaurants. There are places that have lanterns and lighting for the city streets itself. And there are all kinds of manner of creature walking about, conducting their business here in Baldur's Gate, though you also notice as you're making your way through the streets that there is a pretty significant presence of the city guard, the Watch. So be selective about how many people you murder in the street, James.
This has been a day later, correct?
It is. So you've
Okay.
gained your hit points and spell slots back.
I think we should make it known that we're looking to buy books to get into Candlekeep.
Which
Okay.
we are,
Ooh,
because
that's a
we
good
will
idea.
need books again to get back.
Yes, we
inside.
will. But so
We
if
may-
we,
I don't think you. I think you don't need for re-entry. I think your one-time donation. was
we've got
good
a
for,
stamp on the back of our hand that will get us back in again.
I think you're good for. I think they probably take a book a month because people come and go from Candlekeep. So yeah, you have a nice little stamp on the back of your hand that only shows up under like a dark light.
I'm joining the Rare Book of the Month Club.
So I think if we can basically get these miscreant booksellers to come to us.
So do you want to head right to the Wide?
I would say we look
Yes.
for a pub in the Wide.
What? I think we look for the booth.
Yep.
We know
Mhm.
what it's called. We know where it is. We go look for it.
Yeah, but if it's
Yep.
something that's not always there, if
Then we won't find it. But if it is there, we will find it.
okay, we will
I
hold
agree,
my
Monty.
plan in reserve if we can't find it.
Yes.
Let's see here. So you head to the Wide. So the Wide, as mentioned before, is just a sprawling marketplace. There are some shops kind of around the edges of it, but imagine it's kind of multiple city blocks with all kinds of temporary structures, tents, wagons, little stalls set up between the more permanent structures, and they sell everything here. Just anything you could imagine. If any of you are in the market for some new equipment or specialty food or well-aged meatball subs, this is the place to find it. The main area of the Wide seems to be on the up and up in terms of everything here is probably legal and regulated and official, but clearly there are some, sketchier shops on the periphery of places or down some alleys that might be the place to find your more black market items. So it sounds like your goal right now is to find a bookstore, and this is challenging because there are clearly, just from wandering into the marketplace, multiple places selling books and other literary works. I guess I'll ask you this question. Do you want to split up or do you want to travel as a group?
I feel like it makes more sense to split up because we are a big group of maybe not odd people for Baldur's Gate, but I don't know. Staying together is just like traveling as one pack through a giant. I've tried to do this in real life, like say at a theme park or something. It's just not very fun.
Yeah, at Comic-Con, you have to split up if you have 5 people. It's just
Exactly.
I didn't know that. Okay, good to
There's
know.
also a lot of guards around, so I don't feel that we're going to be in imminent danger. We just need to find this place and then regroup.
All right, so let me just ask. Do you want to split up into groups of 5 or smaller, or into 5 individuals, or you are in a group of 5? Good job, done.
We want 5
I just think
groups
that
of 5.
I think Lil Antony should go in whichever group that Polly is not in, because we know that the Wide is not bigger than a mile. So if something bad happens to either side, we can notify the other.
Oh, because your telepathy works for 1 mile.
Oh yeah.
Can we
Lil Anthony
send
definitely
him
likes that.
up as a drone and just scout out the area?
We can. That
You
was
can.
That
my
would only be helpful. That would
original
only
idea.
be helpful for Polly's group, though. The other group.
I
would
will
be-
also mention, it is challenging. This place is huge. So that is certainly a way of searching. Walking around is also a way of searching. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Are you splitting into 2 groups, in which case it's probably 2 and 3, or do you all just want to kind of go off on your own?
I think
think
2 groups
two
is a good
groups,
idea.
Two groups,
All right.
and then Little Antony will go with the other group.
Okay.
That isn't with me.
Mhm.
So let's start with the Little Antony group. Or actually, I guess if you're sending Little Antony up to scout, maybe he's a Little Antony group by himself.
no.
So-
Lil
He
Antony
needs to-
is with the other group.
Okay. Who is with Little Antony?
I would like to be. I feel like we
I-
bonded a little bit.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, yeah,
Okay.
Frittata.
Little
All right.
Antony definitely is keen on hanging out with Frittata.
Plus, like
Okay.
then he can perch nice and high so he can
Yeah.
see his
Mhm.
surroundings.
So Little Antony and Frittata and somebody else want to join that group?
I'll go.
All right, and Lapis head off in one direction. Nyasa, Townley, and Polly head off in the other direction. I'll assume that you have a plan to either communicate telepathically or meet back where you are in an hour, whichever happens first, I
Both,
guess.
yeah.
And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I would like each group to make some kind of check. And I'll say that you could do different things depending on what you want to do. If you just want to be looking around, maybe that's perception. If you want to be talking to people, maybe it's an investigation. Maybe there's a way that you could make a persuasion check. If you somehow turn it into a medicine check, I'd be very impressed with what your argument for that is going to be. But I am going to ask each of you to make me some kind of check, and then we'll talk about what happens to the different groups.
I think I am going to have a rough idea of the disreputable areas around
Mhm.
here. So I am going to try and persuade somebody on the outskirts of one of these areas to give me some info if they've seen
Okay.
a book, a dodgy bookseller.
Okay. Let's see. I don't have. Do I still have you in initiative order, or did I close that? I don't have you in initiative order. Let me just kind of go around the Zoom room and check what things you rolled, and we'll see what things you learned. Tiff, I'll start with you. What did you do?
I'm kind of looking around the alleys and checking things out, and so I want to roll an insight check because that's what I have the highest for, and that's a 15.
All right, you're talking to people, and there's definitely places to get books. You're looking around, and you think that you see a place that looks like it's going to be books with an A and a B for that, but then you get closer to it, and you're rather disappointed that it is Autumn's Breads. It seems to be a bakery, fresh pastries, bread, and cakes for 1 silver piece each. But you are relieved that you didn't bring Little Anthony with you because he would have eaten several gold pieces worth of bakery.
I mean, I think you should get some baked goods items for us.
I mean, I get some baked goods. I totally do. Anyway.
We've got the money.
They're 1 silver piece each, so feel free to say that you've got, you got a box of cannolis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rude to assume I would like cannoli, but
and yet,
I really like the cannolis.
Yeah.
Those little chocolate chips, they're so cute.
Townley, what are you going to use in this situation?
I'm going to wander around with an unfocused look on my eyes, but I'm seeing everything around me, and I'm going to use perception.
Mm-hmm.
Just hoping to see. I rolled a 9.
You are looking around, and you get distracted. You kind of wander into a tent that is, as you come into it, you felt drawn to it. And as you kind of push back the tent flap and make your way into it, you see that you are in a large, sprawling tent called the Wizard of the Wide. It is a tent bursting with dozens of arcane foci and spell scrolls for sale, and it's like a crow to a shiny object. You have been distracted by all these things. In case you wanted to buy any spell scrolls, I have a list of spell scrolls available at 25 gold pieces each. So,
spell scrolls?
Yes.
Now I have to keep explaining this. Magic comes from blah blah blah. You get the
yeah. The first one is a comprehend languages, which I know you don't want.
I guess we don't need that hat.
Yep. The Queen of Air and Darkness said this was a very special ability she was giving me.
Yeah. Here's books where you can learn it for free. Hope you didn't sell your soul or anything. Frittata, what are you doing?
All right. Over in the other group, we are walking along. We're making our way, and I am going to use investigation. So I am 8 feet tall, so I can see over, maybe even some of the stalls, lots of the people. And I am specifically looking for the types of shops that would have books. I'm looking down alleys, because alleys seem to be like the shadier spots. And keeping with today's theme, I'm rolling crappy, so that is an 8.
You go down the spookiest, sketchiest, filthiest alley you can find in the Wide. At the end of that alley is Coppers to Crowns, an antique store selling garbage, or as they call it, trinkets.
I already have a trinket. Some of you may notice some weird-looking hair sticking out of one of my pockets.
This, if you wanted to roll several more times on that same trinkets table, you could do that here for a low cost.
God, no.
Yep.
No, I've read the table. No, thank you.
Lapis, I think you are next.
Oh, well, I'm
sorry. I say to you, I'm sorry I dragged you down this alleyway. Please take us somewhere else.
That's okay. I'm just taking out all the sights while I'm following Frittata around. Just taking it all in, and I rolled a 23 to a perception check to see if anything kind of twigs my intuition as to a direction to head in.
All right, just around the corner from the antique shop that Frittata led you to, there's a little side stall, and there does in fact seem to be a bookseller's here. There's kind of a somewhat animated kind of used car salesman type person out front yelling about the glory of books and giving people kind of the hard sell. It does not look like people are super interested, and there's not anyone browsing it. And you spot kind of on a one of those little sandwich board type easel things the name of the place, which is Amberdune Books.
So I'm gonna point and say, This looks pretty promising. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
It's got an illustration. It must be promising.
Metagaming.
I think that might be it.
All right.
Now, which I have +1 to deception. My charisma is 13. Like it's not super high. Are you really good at that, or should we wait for the rest of call the rest of our party in?
Send up a little Anthony and
Yeah,
That's
not
what I'm wondering.
great at persuasion or deception or
I get a little tingle
anything.
in my telepathic brain senses.
Yep.
I was like, I hear a little, and I was like, oh, we got to go down here. We got something. So I tell my
All right.
group, and
Yeah,
we
we'll
go
just
meet
sort
them.
of like we'll
So
sort of hover, keeping
You
an eye on it. but not
reconvene
close.
kind of, we'll imagine like across the street down a ways from Amberdune Books. You're right outside Gems for All, a shop that sells gems.
For all.
I like
For all.
gems.
Yeah, they sell a lot of gems.
My name is Lapis. I like gems.
Jams.
no gems.
Those two.
No.
Yum.
Or as they
Lot of
say in some
accent
places,
problems.
gems. No, I don't think anyone says that.
it's James.
All right. So you have found the booksellers in question. Just as you're kind of, I imagine you're standing there for a bit, surveying the Amberdune books. It is, kind of wedged in between two more permanent structures. It's a kind of a stall that's crowded with books. They've got books, and they're clearly, many of them are on kind of like rolling carts so that they can take them out at the end of the day. There's two, they appear to be humans, staffing the stall. There's one at the front. There's kind of a man, looks like he's probably late 20s, who's doing he's intermittently reading from a book, which is, I guess, a way you could try selling books to people
You're
who pass
demonstrating
by.
its value. Look what you can do with this.
Yeah, and trying to draw traffic into the to the booksellers, and you see somebody toward the back of the stall. They look similar in appearance. They might be related. Who seems to be, I don't know, doing inventory or some kind of paperwork related to it. They look like they've kind of positioned themselves about as far as they could be from the man. This is a middle-aged woman, and still be in the bookstore. Doesn't look like there's anyone else there. You can see just from where you are, it looks like a pretty wide variety of mundane books, but it looks like they might have some expensive things kind of behind the little counter up on a high shelf. Books right here. Get your books. Come on. I know. Look at you. You want a book, right? Come on. Come right here. Amberdune
want a
Books
book.
will help you out. He's saying to the
So
strangers.
I guess Nyasa goes up and says, I'm looking for something a bit special. We're trying
You
to get
have
into...
come to the right place, friend. This is Amberdune Books. Special books are our specialty. My name's Rama. How can I help you?
We're looking for kind of one-of-a-kind items because we're all trying to get into Candlekeep.
Candlekeep. Say no more. Say no
And
more.
we've heard that this is the place to come.
Here, and he kind of grabs your arm and kind of walks you toward the back of the bookstore, and says, "You, sir, are looking for one of our rare specialty books. If you're going to Candlekeep, I suspect, don't want to show up there with some book that they've already got 6 copies of. Am I right?"
I correct him, ma'am, and look interestedly at the books.
So I apologize, ma'am. Rama does not actually have a large. He gestures at them, but it's clearly they're like, they are not actually books, but like pictures of the covers of books. perhaps somewhat strangely, and there's a listing next to them. And he says, yes, these are, we don't always keep these on stock here in the in the stall, but we can arrange for same-day delivery. And he pulls down kind of a dusty placard list that he puts in front of you. And just looking at the list, Nyasa, you see that the list of books for sale, there's a price at the top. All of these books are 450 gold pieces, which is a significant amount, but rare books do not come cheap. On the list is some familiar titles. Titles such as Fallen Tethiamar, The Dark Hunger, Customer's Guide to Ging Watsums, Wanderings of a Humble Asmar, Daughters of Gratzt, and Maztroth's Mighty Digressions. What is the deal with these booksellers? Are they on the up and up? Surely they are not. But what are they up to, and how are they selling multiple copies of rare books that might in fact be monsters that attack poor warlocks and try and murder them? To what end, and how will you deal with these? What will our adventurers do to return to Candlekeep with hopefully legitimate non-monster books in hand? For answers to, I don't know, maybe some of those questions, that was a lot of questions. Tune in next time to Total Party Kill.